Hello, everybody. How are you doing tonight on this fine Sunday evening? We've got a great show for you tonight. We have a couple of guests tonight and a lot of fun topics to talk about. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But as always, I'm not allowed to do this by myself. He won't let me. So let's welcome in Uncle Ed.
Hey, Ed. How you doing, guys? Good seeing you. Here
hey,
we
what's
are.
this?
We're ready. I'm pumped up. Peter Brown. Let's get this show on the road.
That's good. So everybody, as always, jump into the chat room. Let's get active. Say hello. We'll start welcoming in people, but we're gonna be a little bit quick with that tonight because we got a lot of things to talk about. But before we get too far, we can't go very far without saying a big thank you to our sponsor, and that is Caneswear. Caneswear is located in Davie, Florida, just south of 595 on University Drive. This is the best place to get all of your Inter Miami gear. You're going to find the best prices in town. It's the most important part. I've bought things there that were way cheaper than in the stadium. So go to Caneswear. They're expanding to a bigger location, Ed. They're going to have a store that is way bigger where they can focus more on Inter Miami stuff, because they put the Inter Miami stuff is kind of like sometimes they have to transition it to the Panthers or so because of the season times, all right? But this bigger storefront in the same plaza, bigger storefront though, they're going to have the ability to showcase more Inter Miami like all year long. So good stuff.
Nice.
Go to Caneswear.
Looking forward to that, Peter Brown. Looking forward to that and to spend some more money.
That's it. All right, everybody. Well, I see a few people in the chat room so far. So why don't we say hi to those that are here, and then we will welcome in our guest.
Yeah, Peter Brown. The first person I saw here, I don't think you've seen him. You don't see him. I think it's B King.
I do see B King.
Oh, you saw him. There we go.
He's a cord cutter.
All right. Oh,
that's our guest specialty.
Wow. We're gonna definitely be talking to somebody that knows about that stuff. We also got Baldwin 4. Is that 4 or is it just 4? Yeah.
Yeah, you got to know your Roman numerals, Ed.
Of course. And of course, with us, one world, one goal. She knows who our guest is. Of course, she's gonna know. And I was on there too. Look at that. With that one dude, what's his name? I forget his name. So that's me on the right hand side, and we also have Kata. Oh, how'd you know I was gonna say Kata next?
Because I could see what's next, Ed.
Okay, gotcha. We also have Jose Velasquez is with us. How you doing, Jose? Awesome. And we got Carl Toppin.
Who?
Carl
Toppin. There, yeah.
Or is it Topin?
Toppin. Looks like a two P's.
Looks like a Toppin. Esteban Dido, that's one of
Where's he been?
favorites.
Hasn't he been missing lately?
He's been missing, yeah. But everybody seems to know our guest pretty well. We also have our guest later on today after the gaffer.
Yeah, I was going to kind of tease that a little bit, but yeah, Anu's going to be on a little bit later to talk about.
Thunder. I stole your thunder, Peter. Sorry about that. And we got the man himself, Richard Greenberg.
Man, how cold is it up there?
Man, if we're freezing, look
at Toronto,
me.
right?
I got my hoodie going. I'm in my garage here, my garage studio. And we also have our good friend, he's probably freezing as well, Eric Thomas.
Oh, yeah, it's got to be cold up there in New Jersey.
In Jersey. She's in
Jersey.
So, all right, Peter.
Lots to talk about tonight. So, I've been for a while, Ed. I mean, we've touched on it a little bit, the Apple MLS deal. I've wanted to talk about this in more detail for a while full disclaimer, 100%, I'm an Apple guy through and through. I've got everything Apple, so much so where I'm at the mall yesterday.
Apple.
I'm at the mall yesterday and I walked by the Apple store. Part of me wants to go in the Apple store. I'm pulled to go in the Apple store, right?
Yeah.
But then I start thinking, I got everything that I need from the Apple store. Sure, I don't have the new iPhone 14, but my my iPhone's fine. But I got all the toys of Apple that I really need, so I don't really need to go in the store. But I'm an Apple guy through and through, so I love this Apple MLS deal. But there are a lot of people that do not feel the same way. So I've wanted to, and there's a lot of misconception. A lot of people are not sure exactly how to log in, what to do. Do I have to have a subscription to this? Do I have to have a subscription to that? All kinds of different kind of questions. Are there local broadcasts? All kinds of stuff. And so we thought we should have on our friend Christopher Harris, who runs a website, worldsoccertalk.com. And if you're not familiar with worldsoccertalk.com, we were actually just talking to Anu before the show, and Anu was saying how he goes to World Soccer Talk all the time because that's the resource. If you want to know where your game is being streamed or played or whatever, that's the resource because they're all over the place. They're on so many different channels in so many different places, and that's your resource. Plus, I know that site has grown a lot recently with lots more commentary articles and things like that. So it's a great resource, great website. So with further ado, let's say hello to our friend and former Fusion guy, Christopher Harris. How you doing, the Gaffer?
Hey guys.
Where's our studio audience when we need them?
That's right. Thank you for having me on. This is great. Yeah, former aficionado, honorary aficionado from back in the day, and into Miami fan
I had to find it.
The studio audience. They're here. They're right behind.
They're the grandkids.
My grandkids are here. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, no, it's great to be on the show. And I was telling Peter and Ed before the show too. Big fan of Futbol Miami TV. Try to watch it every week, and really love the community you guys have created. It's great to see so much user interaction.
Oh, great. Go on, keep going. I said that earlier. I had to bring it back. Yeah,
and so
you keep going.
Like always, as we're doing this, if you guys have questions for Christopher, throw them in the chat because I'm already seeing some potential questions here, specifically about Canada and stuff like that. So if you guys want to drive the conversation, fine, we'll let you do that because otherwise,
that Gaffer guy, he's got a following here. So
there you go. Yeah, Chris Arjun just stepping in as well. All right, so Apple signed and MLS signed a $2.5 billion deal over 10 years, $250 million a year for MLS to be for Apple to be the solo streaming partner. And Christopher, people have gone nuts. So all the games are going to be on Apple Plus. Now they've signed a linear TV deal where those games will also be on a few linear channels. But for the most part, you're going to get everything. Well, you're going to get everything on Apple TV, regardless whether it's on Fox or not. And you're going to get it in Spanish. You're going to get it in French where you want to go. All kinds of great stuff. But let's start with this. Do you think it was a good deal? And I mean, it's the kind of deal that I think you have to say it's a good deal. $2.5 billion for MLS. That's a great deal of money, and it's going to help propel the league. But what are your thoughts on this partnership with MLS and Apple?
Yeah, I think as a cord cutter, and I'm sure some of the audiences are cord cutters too, they've gotten rid of cable or satellite. This is a dream come true for soccer fans because now you don't have to worry about blackouts. You don't have to worry about who's showing which game each weekend, whether it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever time it is. You don't have to worry about weird kickoff times. There's going to be consistent kickoff times. There's going to be consistent windows when games are shown. And every single game is available on streaming worldwide. So even if you're traveling, you're on vacation, you're in Mexico, wherever it may be, no matter where you live in the world, there's only one streaming provider that will show every single game. Now, so for me, as a cord cutter and as somebody kind of tech who likes tech as well as soccer, this is perfect. And I think of all the partners out there, Apple's going to put their machine, their engine, their kind of the everything that they do behind this, and they're going to push it big time in terms of promotion. If you own an iPhone, I'm sure you're going to see lots of updates and alerts about this. So for the vast majority of people, this is going to be a huge win, especially for the younger audience who watch Major League Soccer anyway. It is a big change, though, right? You can watch games on TV ever since MLS was started back in the day in '96. This upcoming year, 2023, there'll be about 30 games on television on Fox. So roughly about a game a week, roughly. But for MLS fans or Inter Miami fans, this is it. This is going to be really, really exciting to watch. And it'll also be interesting to see how well the production is, how good it looks with Apple behind it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, that's actually, you mentioned the production. That's something that is on MLS. They have to pay for, take care of all the production. And so that'll be a good question. Are they prepared for the production? MLS says they're ready to go. And, not sure. But
yeah, well, it's interesting with that too, because it's a big operation to pull this off. They're essentially having to create their own
TV company
network.
Right.
So what they've done just in the past couple of weeks is they've gone ahead and outsourced this to a company called IMG.
That's what I heard.
A company that actually produces a lot of the Premier League. So the Premier League has some of the best production. So it is kind of last minute in terms of the season starts end of February. But the production should be good. I mean, I'm sure in the early days, there's going to be some growing pains. There's going to be some kind of things to work out. But the other thing about this MLS Season Pass, too, is it launches February 1st.
Right.
So from February 1st, expect just a ton of advertising everywhere you go across the internet.
Yeah, and that's a key sticking point for a lot of people. Not just it launches February 1st, but right when you said that, I started thinking about what is the cost of it, right? So it's the cost of it's $99 for the entire season for your average person. If you are an Apple TV Plus subscriber already, it's $79, I think. And if you're a season ticket holder like Ed and myself, it's free. So I think it's a great deal. Now, I've heard a lot of people, and you're a cord cutter, so you're used to paying for streaming services, and maybe you're like me, where you turn one on for a little while, you watch a few things, and then when you're done watching that show, maybe you turn it back off, and you kind of have that freedom to do that with cord cutting. But a lot of people have been complaining about, well, I'm not paying $100 a year for that. And my argument is, that's like one night out with your wife. So you do one less date night, right? Going out to dinner is not as cheap. Look, I went out to like a little seafood, like fast casual kind of place last night in Parkland, and it was $35 just to for some fast food stuff. So eating out's expensive. So if I go out with my wife, my daughter, that's $100 right there. So one less dinner, and I've got MLS all year. So
I don't think your wife's gonna like that idea, Peter. Just don't tell her.
This is for other people, Ed, and other people's wives. I got it covered. We already bought season tickets. We bought season tickets. I'm covered.
Well, we're good.
Other people's wives, not mine.
So I think for the average person, so someone like myself who doesn't live near Miami any longer,
right,
probably may not do the annual pass. But I'm going to pay, it's going to be $15 a month for me to pay to get MLS Season Pass. However, I've got a sneaking feeling that I'm sure that once it does launch, or pretty soon thereafter, they'll offer some discount pricing, some introductory pricing, something to give you an opportunity. Maybe like the retail price is $15 a month, but maybe there's an opportunity, a special that
first 3 months for a cheaper price.
Exactly. So
the same way that I got Stars. Which,
right, exactly.
I don't know why I paid for that hunk of garbage.
And then the other thing too about this season, the 2023 season, is about 43% of the games are going to be available for free. So there's going to be a bunch of games that they'll show each weekend. They'll show games. So that's a way to kind of, it's kind of almost like a gateway drug, right? You kind of just to get you hooked on it, and then hoping that you subscribe to it. So there will be a bunch of games you can watch for free, just to kind of take it for a test drive, basically.
Here, one question came in the chat. Well, not really a question, but more of a statement. But let's talk about it a little bit, because Richard is up in Toronto. If Apple if Apple doing TFC games, where are the Canadians? Also for Vancouver, Montreal games too. I don't know if you're referring to Canadians watching this, but yeah, they are broadcasting the Canadian games. And I think if I'm not incorrect, they hired French people to do it in French, and they're going to have doing this in at least 3 different languages.
That's right.
Nice.
Yeah. And then plus, I think some of the games will be on Canadian TV too. I think TSN
Right.
is going to show some games too. So yeah. So Canada is covered for sure. Yeah.
So you don't feel left out. Well, Peter had shown me an image of some of the people that have already been hired, and there's something that Peter brought to my attention. Because I was like, oh, maybe we'll have a chance, or maybe Chris, who's got more experience, has a chance to be one of those people in there. I don't know if you do play-by-play or a comment or studio analyst, but Peter brought something to my attention.
His gray hair will not allow that. That's the thing. Christopher's gray hair is not going to get him on this group. And that's the same thing with you, yes, but not me. And
he's older.
Not much, at least. Not much. A few strands here and there.
If you look at all those pictures, I think the oldest one there is who? Marcelo Balboa. He's probably our age.
Yeah, or maybe Steve Cangelosi. Steve's actually, he looks young. He's right in the center. A former New York Red Bulls commentator. He's been around since maybe almost like JP Dellacamera times.
Oh, so he's aged well.
Yeah, absolutely. But for the most part, you guys are right.
Peter Brown of aging.
Young group.
Yeah, and so locally, so many of us want to see Ray Hudson on this, and that's my argument to Ed was, I doubt it based on the demographic they're going after. You never know, because this is just the first grouping of announcers. I read that there's somewhere in the neighborhood of 80 to 100 people they're hiring. I don't know if that number is accurate, but this is just the first people they're launching with right now. They're gonna continue hiring. So I would personally, I doubt I would see Ray Hudson. What do you think, Christopher?
I was on a call last week with Don Garber, and he said there's going to be 14 English language broadcasters, 14 Spanish language, and then 3 French language. So actually looking at this list, they're saving the best for last. I think there's some big names. So according to my sources, there's some big names that they're talking to. They haven't announced those big names yet. But also at the same time, Fox Sports is trying to hire people for their coverage of
sure.
They have UEFA rights and European Championship. So there might be there could be space or room for a Ray Hudson or a John Champion or some of these more veteran kind of bigger names, the people that are going to bring the audience in. But if Ray's doing it, Ray's going to bring a whole audience in just based on him alone.
Yeah, and that's even if he's interested. But, in the youth, I think is super important for several reasons, though. MLS wants to, target to a younger audience. Apple targets to a younger, hipper audience also. So it just makes sense. I'm curious how much of, Apple may be pushing the youth movement as well with their announcers. But here's the thing. Okay, a little bone to pick with you, Christopher. You guys on your site are pretty critical of American broadcasters. Pretty critical,
especially specifically that fella we know. What's his name? Kartik, maybe.
Kartik's our buddy, but Kartik doesn't like MLS Kartik anymore. But just your site alone and what you put out, which is a great website, worldsoccertalk.com. Everybody needs to that should be a daily resource. But especially, I was during the World Cup, for example, you guys were rough on the announcers. But so and I have an opposite feeling. I find English announcers boring as all. So I don't get why people love the English announcers so much. So forget about the World Cup. That's past. Let's focus on this group. Do you think it's a good group? Getting Taylor Twellman, I think, is a steal. What are your thoughts on what they've presented so far and who they've presented?
I'd say that Taylor
Twellman. That pause says a lot.
All right, I'd say.
So Taylor Twellman's a great hire. It's almost like Alexi Lalas. You either love him or hate him. But Taylor loves MLS. He knows MLS. He's got some great sources. he will drop some kind of nuggets during broadcasts about who Inter Miami's signing or what's happening with this deal. So he's a must listen. The rest of them are okay. Nothing bad about them, but they're just not at the top tier of some of the best commentators from around the world. So Max Bretos is decent. Max has been around a long time.
Yeah.
Jake Savins is decent. He's been around relatively short amount of time. Steve Cangelosi is more of a kind of a radio, almost like a hockey guy, kind of a traditional, almost like a JP Dellacamera. So there's nothing bad about that. It's just it's not when you're hiring the best talent available to you from around the world. These are not the best talent. Now within the United States, these are decent. These are good. But what I'm waiting for is that next big announcement, probably in the next couple of weeks. Then we'll see. I think at that point, then they'll have the big guns, and then I think at that point I'll be like, wow, this is really good. I hope.
Yeah. So what's your beef with the American announcers?
I think I mean there's a few different things. A lot of it's depending on style. So like I love the Spanish language announcers. So
100%.
Cantor, the passion, the emotion, it just fantastic. The American ones is different style, and oftentimes it's too talkative. There's no pause kind of in between an action, too stat driven. Like you could be watching an amazing play happening in front of your eyes, and they're talking about stats from something from a week ago or something. So sometimes they miss that. But again, too, I'm originally from the UK. So, those boring English announcers, like you say, Peter, to me, those are that's like poetry.
Yeah, well, I think when I read, and because it's not just you, there's plenty of American fans that agree with you, and I'm sure everybody that's writing on your site is not a British. So I'm unless you've brainwashed them all, which maybe, but I tend to go hard in the paint the other direction. It's like, oh, you guys all love this. I'm American. I want American announcers. Sure, sometimes they say dumb stuff, but so do all announcers, right? So speaking of announcers, Kaylin Kyle, not so much as a play-by-play, but color announcer. She's been great with Inter Miami. I think she brings a lot of I love how she breaks down the defensive plays and things like that. So it's not American, but not English either, right? Canadian, almost like American.
Yeah, the one person on this list I'm surprised is not on there is Chris Whittingham. And I love Chris. And I think he does a great job of Inter Miami. He's good for Univision and Tudo maybe later, maybe I don't know, but that there are definitely good American announcers. It's just I don't think they're in the the top 10 best announcers from around the world. And again, too, it's kind of partly what I've grown up with, but also I'm watching over 1,000 games a season, a year.
Right.
So I'm hearing all sorts of different things. So after a while, you kind of separate the wheat from the chaff.
And when you mentioned 1,000 games, it made me think of a bit of a Twitter conversation that I had with a guy this week. And I'm focused on MLS. I don't really care about the Premier League, don't care about any other league around the world. I watch an occasional game. I don't have a team to cheer for. And I'm maybe a different kind of sports fan. If I don't have the team to cheer for, I usually just don't even watch, right? So I got to be invested. And I'm not, and I don't just can't get invested just by picking a club. I've got to have some sort of relationship. So I don't care about other stuff. I'll watch an occasional game and that's it. So you're definitely putting in the hours that I'm not. And that's going back to the MLS All Access. The argument I was having with somebody is they don't like the Apple deal because, they're going to pay $100 a year to get only MLS, which they think is okay, but somewhat subpar. But they do really want to watch a lot of the European stuff. And this guy would rather spend $75 or $80, whatever it is, for Fubo every month because Fubo will give them pretty much everything, right? It gives you all world soccer. It's a great site for all the world soccer or a streaming service. But you won't get Apple TV. So his argument was, why would I pay for Apple when I could get Fubo? I'd rather have Fubo. So Apple and with MLS is having to convince a lot of people, it seems like like that to come over to their product. So I'm curious, and I love this deal, and I think it's great, but they do have a little bit of an uphill battle of convincing people like that are not diehard MLS fans, that are kind of on the fringe, but love watching the Premier League, love watching La Liga and all that kind of stuff. What do you think? What kind of challenge does MLS face in getting those people over?
Yeah, so you asked me before too, like, do I like this deal? Am I excited about this deal? And I said, as a cord cutter, I love it. It's fantastic. However, from a business point of view, this is risky. This is a gamble. This is a gamble on the future, thinking that more and more people are going to gravitate towards streaming. However, at the same time, there's a ton of people. I'm sure you guys know them too, as well as the viewers. There's a ton of people that watch illegal streams.
Sure.
So so they're not going to be paying. However, I think at the end of the day,
I don't do that. Of course, I don't.
I don't, for sure. I do not.
But it's a gamble. I mean, to me, like ESPN Plus probably would have been a better place to have an exclusive deal where
I just canceled it.
Okay, $10 a month, but you get La Liga, the Bundesliga, FA Cup, so on and so forth. But so according to some of my sources, I know that Apple is looking at other leagues to acquire. So there's rumors about NWSL, the women's league. They're also looking at the Dutch league, which is not a big league by any means, but it is another soccer property. In the UK, in England, they're looking at the Premier League, but that would be for England only. So the hope is that Apple will acquire more soccer rights. So it'll bring people in that just want soccer. But you're right, Peter. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to say $15 a month. That's I can get Netflix for about the same amount of that,
right?
Or I can get ESPN Plus and get thousands of games a year.
And if Apple gets these other properties, that does not necessarily mean they will be available on the MLS All Access app. I mean, that's separate. That would, I assume, would be part of Apple TV Plus, which, of course, I have. But you have to have it for Ted Lasso. Come on. But and also, quite often, if you buy an Apple computer, you're going to get it for a year for free. But so I imagine that would not be on that there would be no value of those other properties for MLS.
Yeah, it is a risky gamble because it is it is confusing, which is one of the reasons I'm here and one of the reasons the website exists. Because I mean, if you say, okay, go ahead and subscribe to Apple TV Plus, and if they think that if consumers think they'll get all the MLS games, that's a separate service. So MLS Season Pass is going to be within Apple TV that you can subscribe to and get just those MLS games, every game, whether it's for every month or an annual subscription. And then if they do acquire more soccer rights, they may fall under the Apple TV Plus window or maybe it's a separate subscription on top of the MLS subscription. It's a gamble. It is risky because there's no guarantee that this audience is going to, all MLS fans, the hardcore are you guys, season ticket holders who already will get it. But what about the average soccer fan who turns on television on a Saturday or a Sunday that watches Premier League or MLS or whatever's on? It's going to be a lot of work.
The one argument that I do hear a lot is, this is no way to grow the sport. I mean, turning away tons of passerbys, if you will. Yeah. My argument to that is, MLS TV ratings haven't exactly been blowing up, have they? I mean, they've been pretty bad throughout their history. Am I wrong?
Yeah, they've plateaued. I mean, so they're probably about almost half of what the Premier League is. So in the United States, the Mexican League would be number one as far as most number of viewers, then the Premier League, and then Major League Soccer. And then the rest of it is kind of everyone else kind of grouped together, kind of smaller numbers. So yeah, I mean, MLS has had a long run on television, has had games on Fox and ABC, and you name it, NBC back in the day. And hasn't been able to really break through the American sports barrier into major
when
numbers.
We get Messi, that's all going to change.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, though. I mean, I think MLS is hoping that. I mean, that's the magic sauce, right? The secret ingredients. You do that, and then Apple TV subscriptions for MLS Season Pass go through the roof. Without that, it's going to be tough. And I think it's on MLS to sign new exciting players. It's on MLS and Apple to put together a really good production with IMG. And then it's also, we're going to look at our pockets, our wallets, and say, okay, is this worth it? Am I willing to put in $15 a month every month to watch this? And like I said before too, the good thing about this is that about 43% of the games the first year will be available for free. So at least we can kind of get people hooked, and then hopefully they'll continue.
If it's free, it's for me, I always say.
There you go. Baldwin brings up a good point, something that I think is awesome as well. Baldwin says, I read supposedly you can watch the Apple TV MLS games, but choose to listen to the radio broadcast instead of the Apple announcers. That might be awesome. That's pretty cool. That's your Apple innovation right there, right?
Yeah. Let's see how it works, because this has never been done, as far as I know, in terms of a streaming service.
The timing is going to be important.
Yeah, and you see that normally just even on ESPN Plus or Paramount Plus or whatever. Sometimes the audio and video aren't synced up. But this is something maybe we'll see a Ray Hudson, right? Or hear a Ray Hudson doing a local radio commentary.
Right.
He'd be perfect for it. And then you can actually listen to Ray instead of whichever MLS announcer is calling that game. That's the other thing too. I mean, we're losing those local broadcasters, whether it's Ray and Kalen Kyle or Chris Whittingham and Thomas Rongan. We're losing that expertise about Inter Miami. And we may get someone that's, a Steve Cangelosi or somebody that doesn't know the team as well. They will do the best job. They will research, but it's not the same.
Better do your homework. Yeah, that was one thought that I had. As much as I love the deal, because, again, $15 a month, let's say I'm not an annual pass holder and I have the ability to turn it on or turn it off, or $100 one-time fee. It's not that much money. But so I think it's a great deal. But the one thought that I had when I'm reading so many comments and so many negative comments. Now, of course, the negative is always louder than the positive. If you're happy, you don't say anything, right? But if you're not happy, you complain to everybody. But it's potentially removing the local games was a bridge too far. Maybe that was one step too far, because everybody's like, I'm on a budget. I only watch the free games. I only care about Inter Miami. I don't care about watching St. Louis, because I know we have a St. Louis fan in here. I don't care about watching St. Louis. I only want to watch my local games that I could watch on my 33. Now that's gone, and I'm not paying $100 to see that. So it almost feels like the local free broadcast was maybe one step too far. Time will tell, of course.
I think the other thing about this, though, too, is that I used to live in West Palm Beach area. And
this is huge, what you're going to say.
My 33, I don't think, is available in West Palm. Nope. So if you logged in to try to watch that game through ESPN Plus, it was blacked out. You couldn't see it.
Right.
Okay, so if you can't watch on ESPN Plus, you don't get My 33, you lose that audience. And actually, West Palm Beach is a major metropolitan city within Florida. So there's kind of pluses and minuses. I think long run, it takes the confusion out of everything. And I think we'll lose a lot of fans. I think we'll lose a lot of Major League Soccer fans, maybe more casual fans, but we'll gain more of those hardcore fans or those new fans that become fans. And it is easier. Like you mentioned before about Ted Lasso. So, season 3 should be coming up in the next few months, and that'll hook people in with Apple TV Plus. And I'm sure there'll be some cross promotion about, hey, go ahead and subscribe or have a free preview of MLS Season Pass. So I think the Apple kind of ecosystem and the power of the marketing that Apple has, very much like Disney. Peter, I know you're a big fan of Disney. To me, Disney and Apple are very similar. It's all about the consumer experience. It's all about trying to get as much money out of your pocket, Peter, as possible. But they do it right? It's quality products and like Uncle Ed shows you right there. The power of Disney, the power of Apple. So they're going to give it its all. I'm excited about it, but I'm also really curious to see what happens. This is a brand new deal. And actually that $250 million a year that they're getting in TV revenue from Apple, they have to put a ton of money into the production. So who knows how much of that money that actually they're going to pocket.
Yeah, when I was reading speaking of subscriptions, I have no problem paying for things, and Ed knows I pay for The Athletic because it's got some good content. And a lot of the things I read come from there and your site. But I don't know. I lost my train of thought there, but Matt's cracking me up here too, though. Matt says people talk about budget, but we'll take a family of 4 out to dinner. I guess it's a give and take. That's what I was saying before. But anyways, but yeah, it's a big risk for sure. But MLS, it's a small enough league where this is the league you want to kind of experiment with these type of things for sure.
Yeah, and I think at the same time too, there's a lot of other leagues around the world that are looking closely at this.
Of course.
Thinking that maybe this is the pathway for the future. Maybe this is the way to go. Cut out all the kind of the TV middlemen. Just go direct to the consumer, basically through an Apple ecosystem. The other part of this too, which is a little bit different, is that I'm an Android user. I don't have an Apple iPhone. I know that about 60% of US have Apple iPhones. So the 40% that don't, you can still watch games, but you have to use the browser, Chrome browser.
Okay, hang on an Android device. I read that on your site, but I think there's a way around that, because when we look here and it says Apple's telling you, or Apple/MLS telling you it's on every screen, right? So just to touch on this, just you don't have to. People ask me, were asking me on Facebook the other day, do I have to have an Apple TV device? No.
Somebody was prepared for this question.
Do I have an Apple TV device? No. Do I need? Most TVs are smart. You could download the app that way. Roku device is one that if you don't have a smart TV, you can use. And the Roku is where I go with this, because Roku has an app, and you can put that app on your phone. So in theory, if you could watch Apple TV Plus through your Roku, couldn't you, on your Android, download the Roku app and watch Apple TV Plus through Roku app?
So it has to be on the Apple TV app. So if your device can get the Apple TV app, then
Roku can.
There'll be a subscription. So that's one to, I'll have to look closer at that one.
Roku can, and it says it right here. Roku devices. So, okay. I know it's small, but that's
good news. I mean, there's a ton of people. I have a Roku too. I have an Apple TV like you,
right,
Peter. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, and now I'm not 100% sure that will work, but it just seemed to make sense to me, because I do have the Roku app on my phone, just because I also have a Roku in a different room in the house. And I can use my phone as a remote control through the Roku. And I never use it, but I downloaded it. So I have it. And so that just and Roku is an Android-driven device. So is Fire TV, I believe, and Google and Chromecast and all that kind of stuff. So Baldwin is and so we'll have to experiment. I think we'll all have to experiment, because Baldwin is telling me Roku device, not the Roku app. But a Roku device, I mean, it's kind of, I don't know. We'll have to see, right? We'll have to experiment and try that out come February 1st. But according to this screen, it should be on every device. And that is, of course, it's no shocker that it's hard to run on an Android device when Apple wants you to buy their devices. That's not a surprise, but of course it does not help MLS either.
Yeah, and the other part of this too is that there's the Spanish language audience. So with this deal, it's on Fox, so 30 games a season on Fox.
Sure.
No Univision, no Telemundo. You mean, so on the Spanish language, so you can get Spanish language through the Apple TV app, but you're not going to be able to watch the actual Spanish language games on television. And in terms of Android users, it actually kind of shifts more to Spanish language audience, or Hispanics in the United States are more likely to have actual Androids than they are iPhones. So you're losing a part of that audience. Again, you're hoping that they go ahead. It's confusing, right? I mean, in terms of Apple, if you are an Android user, this feels kind of like you've been left out. However, you will be able to see the games. It's just you're going to have to take a few extra steps than, say, an Apple user would.
Christopher, you look more like an Apple kind of guy. You should be an Apple guy. I mean,
I used to have an Apple, but then I saw the even kind of the future, and I was like, okay, Android.
And the future is dark on the Android. Future is bright. I got Android too. Well, anyways, I don't want to keep you all night because we could talk about this all night, and we'll continue talking about this because and we can have you back on hopefully in the future and talk more about it for sure. But there's tons of talk about, like, MLS is now dictating that the teams have to put out more content, which is great for us. You guys reported that on worldsoccertalk.com. But let's take a minute and just talk about what's going on with your website. It's gotten better. There's more articles. It's not just where to watch stuff. You've got more people involved with it. Take a minute and just, promote.
Yeah, definitely. So it's myself and 3 other full-time employees. So it's become a full-time business.
Right.
We're working on right now, one of the projects we're working on is a FAQ, answering all the questions, doing all the research about MLS Season Pass, going into a lot of detail about this. And this is just one example. So we're putting together videos, kind of how-tos, step-by-step instructions, just to break it down, just to kind of simplify it and make it as easy as possible. Because it is confusing even to experts, like tech experts like you guys there, Ed and Peter and the viewers and myself. In addition to that too, I mean, of course, there's always soccer news from around the world. So we have a team of writers both from the UK and from America covering basically the biggest news happening daily. But the heart of the website, kind of what drives it and makes it different is the TV schedules. So we have all the TV schedules and streaming schedules for all the games, all the leagues from around the world. We've got a free app with no advertising on it. It just lists all the games. It's called Soccer TV Schedules.
Nice. I didn't know that.
On Android and Apple. See, on both. But yeah, and just like you guys too, we've got a great community of people, like-minded soccer fans. So I appreciate you guys having me on. And anything you guys need, let me know in the future. Big fan of the show.
All right, thanks so much. And I expect to see you at least at one game at Inter Miami at Drive Pink this year. Okay?
For sure, absolutely. I'll be there. Definitely.
Let me know when you're there. We'll track you down and say hi.
We'll have a beer or two.
Have a beer or two. Exactly. Cool. All right, Christopher, thanks so much for joining us, and thanks so much for enlightening everybody on the Apple TV deal. We'll talk to you soon.
Cheers.
All right, thanks a lot. All right.
Oh, man. It's been a while.
All right, so we're going to pivot real quick. That went longer. We could have talked to Christopher for 2 hours for sure. Easily, Ed.
So much soccer information in that brain of his. Guys do go and check out his website, and there's a lot of good soccer content on there. Peter, let's talk about a little bit about Inter Miami. We were concentrating on the whole Apple deal, and we have a guest who's going to help us talk about this guy, that guy. Where is he? Yeah, there he is. That guy right there, Joseph Martinez. What do you guys think?
So yeah, Joseph Martinez is not officially announced, but unofficially everybody knows it's official. It just hasn't been officially announced by the team. So everybody in the chat room knows and loves, and we do as well. I've got a chance to meet him once when he traveled down here to South Florida, and that's a new Weissman up there in Atlanta, joining us now to talk about Joseph Martinez. He reached out to me saying, I got thoughts and I want to share them.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
How you doing, Anu?
Oh, he kind of froze. Oh, there you go. He's back.
Are you with us? All right.
Hey, wait a minute. I'm trying to get it to work, but the screen is frozen.
Well, we can hear you. Yeah. We can hear you just fine.
Yeah, I'm here, but it's frozen up
No,
there.
It's not frozen on our side.
What's up with the screen? Good. Let me refresh real quick.
Just keep talking.
All right. He's gonna refresh. He's gonna check back. Okay. Matt Z from I think if I remember correctly, he's from St. Louis. He feels that it's a great pickup that is.
All right. I guess we'll just stick to what we have now.
Yeah, we can see you just fine, Anu. So I got questions for you. First off, about this guy Josef Martinez. I mean, he's had an up and down time in Atlanta. He started off on fire, and then he's apparently got a reputation of getting into arguments with the management, the coaching, and then Anu is gone.
Yeah, I think he's listening to the live chat, and hopefully now he'll be able to listen to us a little better.
No, it's just funny because Anu was with us for the entire show and before the show, and everything was working fine. So let's see if he's back with us now. How you doing, Anu? Are you back? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm back. It looks like I had to refresh it all because it was out of sync.
All right. So
what's the first question?
Yeah, what do you think we're getting with this version of Josef Martinez, who's got a history now of getting injured, got a history of getting into arguments with the coaching staff, the management, getting sidelined, getting put off into private practice, all kinds of issues. What are we getting?
Well, first off, I mean, obviously he has his injury history, but it's been 2 years since he's tore his ACL. It's about to be 3 years since he tore his ACL, and of course he hasn't really recovered. He during the 2021 season he was getting himself back in order, but obviously I think the coaching changes that happened over the last few years probably affected his recovery and development back into form. Of course, we're one of the few MLS teams that actually play on turf, and some people believe that was probably a factor in it.
Can't you guys grow Can't you guys grow grass in Atlanta?
They said they're trying to. They said they're working on it. That they're working on it, but it won't be until 2026 when the World Cup comes to. Yeah.
Grass won't grow for another 3 years.
It won't grow for another. It obviously, I mean, if you didn't obviously is that during that 2022 season, we lost literally several players on that turf. I mean, we lost Miles Robinson, which was a huge blow to the U.S. men's national team.
Yep.
And of course, Brad Guzan tore his Achilles on that same turf.
Wow, that's not good.
So
he's going to be playing on grass over here.
Yeah, he's playing on grass now. So what are we getting? Do you think are we getting a player that's a bit of a head case, or do you think we're getting a steal with Atlanta United paying for the majority of his salary? So we're getting a designated player at a TAM level salary. So for us, it's a steal. As people are saying in the chat room, we get to test drive a player for a year.
Yeah, basically we got nothing out of this deal.
Nothing. And a DP. You got a DP spot available. That's it.
Exactly. We have a DP spot available. We have a DP spot available, but that doesn't help us to do anything. We literally let go of probably the most iconic players that ever come to Atlanta. Like when the rumors were already swelling about it, you had people who were already mad about it. My friend, I have a friend of mine. He has has a daughter, and this was the very saddest thing. She cried for 45 minutes to an hour after she heard what happened.
Wow.
And yeah, because that just shows how much he's touched Atlanta. He's an icon, and people are very angry about what the front office did by pushing him away like that. But as I say, is that yes, he is hot-headed, but he will give you the production like he always did before in Atlanta. And honestly, like I said again, a healthy Josef is a deadly one. That's what they call him, the Venezuelan Viper. And of course, I mean, we're in a huge rebuild phase. We lost Darren Eales to Newcastle. We got a new president in from Seattle, and of course, Gonzalo Pineda is going to be on his second full year as the manager. We still got Carlos.
I was going to say, but you guys get to keep Carlos Bocanegra.
Yeah, we're not happy about that.
I know. You're not happy about that.
Yeah, when what's his name? I remember when our first our last home game. First off, Joseph didn't get even touch the field at all, and people were so angry about that. I remember at one point you were hearing people screaming on the TV and also at the field saying "Boca out," because everyone was putting out their frustrations with the front office of what are you guys doing, So he needed to get out. He needed to get out of that toxic place, and I think he's gonna find he's gonna be having a better environment over there at Inter Miami. I also add the fact that he's also a father now. He just had a new boy.
Nice.
Yeah,
and South Florida, I would imagine, is a perfect destination for someone like him. I mean, he's not going to have to. I don't know if he speaks English or not, but he's going to have no problem communicating down here. So coming into a squad that has got a lot of Latino players, there's a
whole city over here that's basically Venezuela.
Yeah,
Doral. That's everybody from Venezuela lives there. So he's going to be right at home over here.
I mean, Joseph can speak very good English.
Oh, can he?
Tell you that.
I don't know anything about him other than how he plays.
Oh, well, I've been to many fan events over the years, and I met Joseph several times. I mean, if you go on my Instagram, I have pictures of me and Joseph. Like I said again, fan events. I always saw him. If you watch his interviews, he speaks very clear English that he learned over the years being here. But most of the time, is very comfortable speaking Spanish. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to be speaking mostly Spanish when he's down there in Miami.
Eric Thomas jumping in here saying, back to football. I'd take Martinez in a heartbeat. People seem to forget that Higuaín wasn't a walk in the park deal with either. Yeah, because that's the part of the equation is, he has a reputation of being hard to deal with. And so was Higuaín. Not everybody likes our coach, Phil Neville, but he did figure out a way to deal with Higuaín and eventually get the most out of him. And hopefully he could do the same with Martinez. But, what do you say about people that think Martinez is just maybe potential trouble in the locker room?
I mean, like I said, it depends. I mean, like I said, Atlanta has been going on decline since 2019.
Right.
I mean, we had Frank De Boer, and he was a great defensive minded. He was a great defensive minded coach, but it was already shown that Joseph wasn't happy with him, and a lot of the other Latino players that were on the team were not happy with him because he was playing a style that he was implementing a style that they didn't like. Flair, attack, constant attack. Hence why we were scoring like 3-4 goals a game, and it gave defenders nightmares every night, knowing, oh crap, I got to play Atlanta. So I think Neville. I mean, Garrett. Yes, Neville was going to have a lot of baggage considering his accolades. But I said again, with the likes of is Pozuelo still going to be there?
What's that?
Is Pozuelo going to be there?
We hope.
Crossing
They're trying to wrap that up.
Crossing our fingers, yeah.
Because I know you still got Pozuelo. You have Campana. I don't know if you got. Yeah, still got Campana and then.
Very offensive team right now. So, I don't see too many defenders, really.
No, but it'll be fun to see Campana and Martinez up top together in a 3-5-2, I assume.
Shit! Oh my gosh, it's gonna be crazy. Especially with Pozuelo over there in the back.
Can't wait till we play Atlanta. Hey, real quick, I've got a voicemail here that I know that they want me to play. So, and I think there's a little bit about Apple and a little bit about about Joseph. So let's play her voicemail and let's all three chime in on it.
It's time
right.
for your voicemail. Hello.
Hey, Peter and Uncle Ed. It's Italia, One World, One Goal. Welcome to Chris. We need to have a Fusion reunion.
I guess I was supposed to play this earlier.
Looking forward to hearing more about the Apple TV because I'm not really an Apple person, although, of course, I know how to use it. But we want Ray Hudson, and they do have Max Britos, so that's pretty cool, and a couple other people that I think were pretty good. I think they're going to announce a few more. And say hello and give a big kiss to Deb and the kids. And maybe for the new stadium we can have a Fusion reunion. By then it's going to be like the 25th year of the Supporters Shield winners of 2001. We'll see. But we miss you guys. Okay, Lillian. Oh, this new dude that they may bring down from Atlanta.
There we go.
Martinez. He's all right, but he did break a lot of my Diego Sona 17's records, like the hat tricks and a couple other things. So I'm not that fond of him, but, congrats to him. At least Diego's had a lot of records. He has a few still standing and had a lot that stood for like 15 years. Anywho, love you guys. Love the show. Happy New Year.
So did you hear that, Anu? Joseph's all right. He's all right.
Whatever.
No, he's all like, oh.
Yeah, whatever. I guess he's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm reading a couple. I'm actually like going through the chat and I'm going through a few questions. I mean, somebody, Steve Munoz, asked me, where do you see us ending this season in the East? And I'm just going to say how it is. We're in rebuilding phase. Like, getting rid of Jose Martinez already tells you that we're basically in, in nerd ways, we're in our Iron Man 2 phase. When Tony had to strip down, had to strip everything down and make a new arc reactor,
Little nerd show for you tonight.
Yeah,
hey, with that rebuild, you got our boy Garth Lagerwey to do it for you, and so obviously he was involved with this decision to move Joseph as well. But you should feel some confidence with Lagerwey, the man to rebuild you.
Yes, I did. I did listen to read into some Seattle Sounders podcast and everything about what he does, and of course we already know his reputation and what he did with the Sounders and how he kept them consistent for so long, even with like the constantly changing MLS financial rules.
Yep.
And I good luck to Seattle because I know next month they make their way towards Morocco for the Club World Cup.
Yeah, we love him from his time at the Fusion as a goalkeeper. So,
All right.
Oh,
so
here you go. Here's one I like. Kata, as an Atlanta United fan, if he scores on you guys, how will you feel?
Well, I was reading that question. So if he scores on us, I would basically take out my jersey and just
burn it.
Put it up like that.
Burn it.
I'll just do that because
all right. Respect.
I wouldn't be mad. I hate the front office for what they're doing, pushing Joseph away like that. One person even said that my biggest fantasy is have him take off his jersey saying Boca out on the shirt.
Mm-hmm. He might not even celebrate the goal though, knowing him.
Maybe he probably walked to the away section of Inter Miami fans and cheer with them. We're gonna be like, Boca out. Yeah, Boca out. Let's get a Boca out chant going.
Yeah. I want to see him. He comes into South Florida. I want to see this pink hair back for next season. I mean, I remember he wore that pink hair when he played against us, and I was like, why are you wearing pink and then going to come in here and score goals against us? I want to see that pink though here.
It's the least he could do. He needs to wear that again.
No, I think what's crazy is that his first, I remember our first home game in 2021, we were still with limited attendance because of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the first pictures I took of him coming back on the field after the ACL tear, he had the pink hair. And so I was like, damn. So when you pulled up that graphic, I was like, this was a foreshadowing since the beginning.
Somebody's got some sound effects.
Oh, that was me, fellas. Sorry. I'm getting one of my grandkids downloaded some game apps and stuff, so I'm getting all these weird things. I've got like 3 pages of little games for babies on my phone now.
All right. Well, we got to wrap up the show as we as we're getting to that time. But Kata has another good question here. Anu, will attendance drop even lower this season for you guys?
It will, because like I said, we're in a rebuilding phase, and
fans are fans. They're fickle.
Yeah,
fickle fans.
And fans, and then fans can be fickle. So, and obviously, I mean, no insult to the fans that I know that will stay in day in, day out. But I've seen attendance drop for every Atlanta-based team since Atlanta-based team, even especially after they lose a major they have like losing seasons, or they lose out on a major championship. Atlanta Falcons. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm gonna see a lot of empty seats this season.
Well, speaking of seats, Kata also chimed in earlier today. I don't know if I can make this happen, but give Anu VIP seats with buffet when he comes to South Florida again, Peter. Treat my guy right. So I'm not in control of that. Ed and I, we sometimes get a little message, but they're we do on occasion, very rare occasion, have an ability to do that. But fans want to see you treated right, Anu. Give you that sushi while you watch Atlanta lose. Oh. It helps it go down. Helps a loss go down a little bit easier.
I mean, I would love to come down. I mean, I would love to come down to play, see Inter Miami play down there against Atlanta, but I think I have to, that's like Mother's Day is like the next day, so
it gets expensive.
Yeah, you can bring your mama.
See, I had that thought, but I don't know if she'd be able. I don't know if she can. I think she will like the weather. I mean, I'm already going to Premier League Fan Fest on Saturday, so.
Oh, that's in Orlando, right?
Yeah, it's in Orlando.
All right.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe I'm thinking about coming down there for Inter Miami versus Atlanta. Now that obviously Joseph is,
come see your boy. Come see your boy score against you. He's the one thing I remember. The one thing I remember about him is he does like to score at Drive Pink Stadium, because I don't remember how many times he's played. Maybe it's only once or twice that we played against you guys in Drive Pink. I remember once at least, and he scored, I think, a couple. I don't remember.
No,
but he was dangerous.
I do. I remember this very well. It was the first time we ever met.
Okay.
It was in
that
2021. Game. Yeah, and he scored his first goal. So it was his first goal in 2021. The first goal since the ACL tear. Because I remember he didn't even score in that Nashville game at all either. So it was his first goal since 2019.
Yeah. And he was dangerous that whole night, I remember. I was like, man, this guy's playing well against us. And Phil Neville mentioned that too in his press conference earlier when they were just talking about, what do you think about this player? There's rumors. And he's like, well, I mean, he plays well against us. So,
Yeah, definitely. I think like I said, and I said again, a healthy Joseph is a deadly Joseph. But at the same time, is when you have some incompetence in the front office, I will keep saying that. Joseph realizes not the ideal situation anymore.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's looking like it could be an exciting season for us and also for Atlanta for different reasons. this year. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what you guys do and how you rebuild and what Garth Lagerwey does. And it'll be interesting to see what Joseph Martinez, and if we can get Pozuelo here signed, it's going to be an exciting time for us here as well. But I think that pretty much wraps it up. Anu, thanks so much for jumping on, but you have one more thing to say.
So I would say thank you for having me on. I remember sending a message and I wanted to do it.
It's fun. Yeah.
Yep. And then to answer Carter's last question, will Amada stay till Endgame? He's gone in summertime, all right?
All right.
He's gone in the summer.
Yeah, I skipped over that because I'm like, this is not a Atlanta podcast.
Yeah.
So I don't care that much about Amada.
I know, but he's gone.
I don't really care about him.
Yeah.
No,
he's He's the first active MLS player to win a World Cup.
But he plays for Argentina, and we talked about this before.
Well, your wife is not here, so we can talk about Argentina.
No, but she can't hear me because I'm very loud when I do this show. So,
all right.
I'm yelling into this microphone. So anyway.
All right. Mrs. Brown, if you can hear me, hello.
Nice to meet you. All right. Well, it was a lot of fun tonight talking to you, talking to Christopher Harris. Make sure everybody goes to worldsoccertalk.com and Caneswear. Go there. Ed, any last thoughts before we head out?
Peter, I see there's a couple people wanting us to do the Nerd Show tomorrow. There's a new premiere going on. Carter's saying,
yeah,
I haven't seen that show. It's actually
it's premiering tonight. It's premiering tonight, so you can't have seen it.
So if you watch it, we could talk about it tomorrow if you want to do the Nerd Show, 9 p.m. live.
We could try. You know, the reason the Nerd Show hasn't been happening lately is my fault because, actually last week I was working Ed, I was working till like 9 p.m. last week.
Well, you need to make that money.
Last week was a Colombian holiday, and what that generally means is I got to do the work of 13 people because that's my team. I got to do the work of 13 people. So, that's what I got to do. But anyways, we'll see. We'll try. But Ed, why don't you and I, if you can, I will tonight. I'll go watch that show or tomorrow morning. I'll watch it.
I'll do it. I'll watch it tonight.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you next week.